WSBA.
Welcome back to WSBA Morning News with Gary Sutton, where we have two very special guests this morning. Todd Willman, the Marketing and Membership Manager of the Manufacturers Association, and Doug Hall, who will be the keynote speaker there at the Polo Center on April 26th. Before we get back to Doug, Todd, tell people a little bit about the evening and what they can expect and how they can get tickets for it. It's going to be a great night.
It is a great night. It's a full, complete package. Any kind of business person, this is a wonderful networking opportunity. We actually start our event at 3:30 in the afternoon. We have a sponsors reception that includes a sit-down dinner on the stage at the Polo Center. Probably the only chance you get to be on stage, right, if you're part of the public. You have a wonderful, fully catered meal there. At 4:30 p.m., we open the doors to the public with a general reception. At 6 o'clock, we're going to go ahead and kick off our program, of course, with you leading the way there as our host, followed by Danica Shirey, the famous local vocalist that appeared on the Voice program not too many years ago. Danica is also going to be appearing with Peter Boutros, who is a pianist from the York region here, very noted accompanist for Danica. We'll get into about a 20 to 25-minute segment where we actually recognize top manufacturers from throughout the region that have made sizable contributions either to their organization or to the community during 2016. And after that, we'll go right into Doug and in his program. So it's a complete evening. The beautiful thing about our annual event every year is by 8:15 or 8:30 that night, you are in your car and on the way home. Yep. This is not one of those events that drags on until 11:30. Right. It's almost crack of dawn till you really get home and get settled in bed. So it's a nice opportunity. The best way to get tickets is actually to send us an email at annualevent@MASCPA. That stands for Manufacturers Association, South Central Pennsylvania. Annual event at MASCPA.org, or just give us a call, 717-843-3891.
And I hope people will take advantage of this because you're going to hear a really neat guy that night. Doug Hall, we just talked to him a few moments ago, and he's back with us. Doug, you know, the most successful manufacturing groups in the country seem to me that they'd also be the most adaptable ones. Not the idea, because there's so many good ideas, but as you mentioned in the last segment, it is the carrying out of the idea that really is the trick of the trade, right?
That's the whole key. It's getting the organization aligned and focused and giving them the tools to innovate. See, for so long, we didn't have to innovate because the markets were good. But now that it's more competitive, we got to kick up our game. And so we just got to learn the systems for doing it.
Talk about some of the tools that sometimes we miss out on. Sometimes we stay with old models and try to adapt them to a new age that you're talking about here.
Well, one of the challenges that happens to us is everything follows a life cycle curve. You know, we go up, we make money, we start to go down, and we end up into cost-cutting. And the fact of the matter is if you're not unique, you better be cheap. And cheap isn't very profitable, you know. And so you got to be, and so, you know, we talk innovation is thrown around as a word, but we rarely get a clear definition. Our definition is very between the eyes, meaningfully unique. It has value, and they can't get anywhere else. And quite frankly, that means customers are willing to pay more money for it. And so those are the kinds of ideas. Our tendency is to think about what we can do, what the customer's asking us for. And Dr. Deming taught us was the question isn't just, yes, you have to do the stuff the customer's asking. Yeah, that's fine. But if you want to make money, you got to get ahead of the customers. You got to help your customers sell their customers. You got to take your things, and you got to take a leadership role with it. And leadership's critical to the whole thing, is enabling their people to be able to do great things.
What hurts innovation in this country? Obviously, a lot of us point to government. We talk about regulation. We talk about overtaxing, compliance, all those kind of things. What else hurts the whole idea of innovation in this country from your vantage point, Doug?
I think the biggest problem we've got is that we have a culture that is built up of the Steve Jobs, that there's a guru out there that's going to go solve our problems, when right before us are the people. But they don't have the research tools, the collaboration, the prototyping, the alignment. They don't have the education because our schools didn't teach them how to do this. And this belief that there's a magical thing that of innovation as opposed to enabling every worker to make it happen, we need each person involved in the process to make it happen.
You know, one of the things that I talk about a lot here, immigration. And we hear an awful lot about manufacturing jobs that are still open in this country. Some people are saying, well, they won't be open law because of robotics, or we have people who don't really have an education for those right now. So it seems to me we maybe have an education gap as opposed to anything else. How do you deal with that when you're out there trying to innovate and make your business better?
Well, to me, innovation engineering is what's unique about it is this isn't just the Doug Hall thing. This is actually an academic field of study. We have 20 universities that teach this as a degree,
right?
And then we also do it. So we're very involved with education in many ways. And what we find is that a lot of the first issue is people have to be willing to learn. And there are some people that are just plain not willing to learn,
right.
and retirement is an option. I'm sorry, that's just there. Now, but then those that do want to learn, our damn education system doesn't work for most people. The whole methodology. And so I didn't intend to get into this, but when I got into on campus and I started seeing students who wanted to innovate but couldn't learn through the classic sage on stage teaching, I said, there's got to be another way. And they go, well, you're an inventive guy. Can't you invent? I go, I don't know anything about education. They say, you don't know anything about credit cards either. It didn't seem to stop you there. And so they challenged me. The university community said, take a fresh look. So I got a team of people together from my office, from the ranch, and from universities and experts from College Board and others. And so we invented a new way of teaching called Cycles to Mastery, where students go through 5 cycles different ways. Digital classes, hands-on lab classes, different ways they go through 5 different cycles. And the system is such that there's an 80% improvement in the ability of students to get an A in the course. We get more A's than any other course. People say, oh, that's inflation. I said, and our standards go up every single semester.
Wow.
Because students are learning more. And so for many people, there's 2 stages. One, you got to be willing to learn. If you're not willing, I can't help you. That's not my problem. But if you want to learn, then it's our responsibility as a general community to insist on new ways of teaching so that those that are willing, maybe they didn't go to Stanford, but they know how to do stuff.
Right.
It's like my father-in-law. He never went to college, but damn, if you got to invent something, the guy's brilliant with a torch and with metalwork. We need to be able to make it so everybody can do it. And if one thing I'm more proud of than anything else is the fact that we have been able to, students who didn't think they could ever do this are sitting there saying, my God, I never thought I could create ideas, and now that I realize there's a methodical, scientific system for doing it, this is amazing.
Doug, there might be businesses out there thinking the same thing. So they could be here on April 26th in York. It's going to be the manufacturer's 111th annual event. You're going to be the speaker. Looking forward to meeting you that night, hearing the message. It sounds exciting, and I hope people in any walk of business out here will check in on that. And we thank you so much for joining us this morning, Doug. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
We look forward to meeting you on the 26th. And Todd Willman, once again, the website where they can go to pick up those tickets?
mascpa.org. And following up on Doug's comment about students and wanting to be innovators and creators, for this event this year, we have a $75 ticket price. That gets you the business networking, the fine hors d'oeuvres, an evening with you as our host, the great insight from Doug Hall. Better yet, a $40 student ticket rate with a valid student ID. So let's get those kids into that auditorium, too.
You could also call for information at 717-843-3891. Todd, thank you so much for joining us here on WSBA.
Thank you, Gary. We certainly appreciate it.
Great event coming up.